Welcome, Ramdas, to 2015 Bhakti Fest interviews. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for allowing us into your home once again. This is our 7th year.
No, really?
Yes, 7th interview that we've had. Fantastic. And in fact, last year's interview, 2014, had over 25,000 viewers on YouTube. So thank you.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Thank you so much. There's usually 4 major questions most everybody has in their life. Who am I? Why am I here? Where are we going? And how do we get there? Let's take them one at a time and see where it goes with us. Okay, so who am I?
I am a soul going through an incarnation. That's what anybody can.
So we're souls in this incarnation.
Yeah.
Well, why are we here? Do we have a purpose in this incarnation?
The purpose in this incarnation is to learn things, because the soul has karma that it has to work out. And we learn things from that, from the incarnation. The incarnation is all about the soul's karma. Since each one of us has a universe that is affected by their perception. Your world is different from my world because of our perception. Our perception is our karma, the karma of our soul. There are far out explanations to that question. For example, we are the fingers of the consciousness of the One, and the One sees itself from each one of us. We are the One. We are the One. And the consciousness of the One has curiosity, has curiosity of its self-concept. It's very far out.
Yeah. Does the soul pick the incarnation, or does the incarnation pick the soul?
The soul picks the incarnation. The soul with its guru picks the incarnation by reviewing all of the previous incarnations, and then which incarnation which would be learning about their soul
The most.
So, yeah.
Now you slipped in the soul with the guru in there.
Yeah.
But the majority of the world does not have a guru, so how are they able to pick and choose?
Everybody has a guru. That's the first thing. Everybody has a guru inside.
Could you also say that's an angel?
They are called angels. They are called masters. They are called
Light beings.
light beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guides.
Yeah. And guides is the best word.
Yeah.
And before your incarnation, the light being comes to you, and with the light being, you merge with merging, and then the whole incarnations and the whole universe, from that our knowledge picks the incarnation. Wow.
But then how does karma play out then in that, and once you pick that? In other words, you pick this situation that you're in now, you actually knew that ahead of time?
No, and the guide and the soul picks the incarnation, which will give the learning that gives the soul purchase on their karma.
So we are destined to have suffering in our lives based on that. For example, how do you really feel about your karma now that during your stroke and after your stroke and now? How do you feel about that?
I think it was grace.
Grace.
Yeah. Because because my stroke kept me from doing golf, doing sports car, doing my cello.
And what's the matter with all those things?
It's not matter. I came around bringing my awareness to the inside, and that's the spiritual life.
For you?
Yeah. Well, for everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah.
But we're also consumed in the outside world.
Yes. That's their karma.
24/7, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
So you don't have resentment about the stroke?
No. No.
Could say that you were born again through this stroke. You might not have been alive if you didn't have this stroke.
Yeah. No, there was no resentment. A whole new world opened up when the stroke happened. And my conversation with my guru in the hospital, on the picture on the wall, all the people around me were long faces and having a stroke. Oh, terrible. Ramdas is having a stroke. And their minds were... And finally, I got rid of them, and the picture was on the wall. And I had before the stroke, I had a grace life. And I said to Maharaji, what the hell is this? Did you go out to lunch? I mean, I'm strokey. And he smiled in the picture. And he said, just wait. Just wait. And I got so that I was my soul. And then the whole incarnation was love. Was love. And I was in bliss, very bliss. And it took me just a meditation to go inward instead of outward without my, you know. My awareness wasn't affected by what happened to my body. And from awareness to what happened to my body, my karma, and grace. And 11 years of my since my stroke. And I haven't, first of all, I think depression was the first thing that was happening. Because that faith, that lack of faith, I missed it very much, my faith. And then when that passed, yeah, wow. How could something as major as a stroke make me happy? And it's happened, I mean, for 11 years. It doesn't, I don't regret my stroke.
But you had some deeper spiritual understanding in order to have brought you to that place. Most people that we're dealing with don't have that deeper understanding. So what do you suggest for them, for example, when they lose like a mother or a father or a husband or a wife or a child? How do they look at the karma of that situation and be able to just look at it as grace?
They look at it from their soul. Maybe from many people have done sadhana, and sadhana gives you ego to soul. And I can share that with you. And then if they can, in their heart, I think that people who haven't done sadhana, the people you speak of, they can realize that there are two things that run them. The ego, which like the coachman, and the soul, which is the person's in the coach. I guess everybody doesn't acknowledge their soul. Yeah, that's the problem.
You have some suggestions to make it easier for the being, this incarnation, to soften the experience of, let's say, for example, losing a loved one. We all have friends that are losing children and wives and husbands, and I know it's not easy, and you can't even make an easier suggestion probably, but there's so much tragedy and sorrow. How can we just continue to go through this all the time? It's very painful.
It takes a shift in perception. Because you're suggesting that pain, because psychological pain, they lose the loved one. And they have they have to a perception where it is what it is. See, my world, they didn't lose anything. And the death is just a ceremony in a long life for the soul. But their loved one, if it's their loved one, real loved one, they are it's already soul to soul. And therefore that's going to lose nothing, because the soul, they're going to think, it's like that soul is taking off a jacket and another jacket. You don't lose the person, because they change clothes.
Right.
And that's what changing bodies or changing humanness to soulness. If they're really soulless, soul, really loving, like an example, if a woman comes to me and her husband died, and she's heartsick. Her heart sickness is her attachment to the form of the husband. Their love was so real in the soul to soul that she misses misses that. And then I say, well, your husband is a soul. And she says, if I could speak to him, I said, well, I suggest that you work on yourself to realize the soul in you. And then you will realize your husband is with you. And it happens that way. Because the soul knows another soul, loves another soul, and the love they had experienced in humanity will be strong and strong as they solve.
Do you have some simple exercises or breathing techniques or anything like that to develop more of your soul understanding in order to be able to tap into the...
Well, I'm a Bhakti yogi, and I use love. We start with the ego, and this is who we think we are, and going down to the soul, who we really are. Okay?
You're pointing to your heart now.
Yeah, but I'm pointing to the middle of the chest. This is the entree to give to the soul.
Love.
This starts here. The mantra, I am loving awareness. 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 And the identification is both from here to here. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. And you can put your finger on the middle of your chest. And that's where the loving awareness. I am 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 loving awareness. Then you have loving awareness. Then, of course, then you are loving awareness at the center of your chest. There's another step, because this point of loving awareness is the entryway to the soul, to souldom. And the way that veil pierced, just go, I am loving awareness. Loving awareness, loving awareness. And keep it right there, a loving awareness, loving awareness. And then as you become loving awareness, you will find you are on the other side of that veil. Loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness, loving awareness. Anybody can do it. Then in soul land, you are a soul. You're a light being. And you see other people as soul. And Maharaji said to me, Ramdas, I want you to love everybody. And I said, because I was up here, I said, I can't do that. And he said, he come up nose to nose, and he said, love everybody. And I didn't know what he meant by it, because it was this soul business. It was, I just loved everybody with the soul.
That actual experience happened over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So did it take you that long to come to that place where you absolutely love everybody unconditionally?
Probably.
Well, at least we're going for the truth. Very good. Very sweet. You know, we're all just trying our best. We're all just trying our best.
Instead of trying the best, being. Just be. Be now. Be. And that will get them in that place.
That's probably the greatest expression or term that you, slogan, or whatever you want to call it, that you've ever said in the world knows you. Oh, Ramdas, be here now.
Be here now.
Right.
Be here now.
Be here now. And that rings true.
I didn't know that.
when you said it. Sounded good.
It sounded good.
Yeah.
I didn't know what power it had. It had.
It's amazing. Just being in the moment. Everything comes to you.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Because when you're in the moment is not, it's not time. They're not hours or minutes. The moment is, and it becomes your soul. Your soul is infinite, and the soul is not concerned with time or space, which we are all infinite. Like I was, people tell me I should celebrate my birthday. I said, why? I'm not 85. My body is. I said, celebrate my body. if you want to celebrate me, it's awful long. Because I am an infinite, and so is you.
So no need to wish you a happy birthday then?
Well, everybody did, and they got it off their chest.
And got back to the moment.
Well, in the moment, there was their sentiment.
That's right.
That's the moment. That's the moment. The moment might be somebody you love dying.
Right.
And get into the moment instead of just getting into your brain about the moment.
Correct. Beautiful.
Because the moment is, wow, this emotions you're feeling, and you're missing the person, and then the body and the transition of that soul. It's a tremendously important moment. I mean, people come to me and say they're going to sit with their mother or their father, and they're dying. And I said, don't make sure it's a ceremony. It's a ceremony. It's a ceremony where this person is the human and then the soul. And you will find the dying of your father or mother will release them from their suffering. And will give you a boost to understand the soul.
During that moment, the transition, there's a lot of forgiveness that takes place at that time. Would that make it easier for the soul to move along?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
As well as having their loved ones around with them, not on an emotional aspect, but as the transition, bringing more love in the transition.
It's surrounded with love, with unconditional love. Unconditional love.
As opposed to attached love, I'm losing you, and
Yeah.
I'm feeling sorry or pity or resentful.
All that human stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. Attachment.
And then one feels guilty. I noticed just recently in a couple of our friends that have lost their wives. And their mourning process is very, very difficult for them.
The difficulty is in the mind. She's in love as a, and you have guilt. I mean, get into love. And your guilt is your mind. And you can find those thoughts of guilt. You better go back into your loving awareness, your heart. And you will see your mind from the witness in your soul, the witness as your soul. I'll witness that thought. That thought it's getting me, I'm not happy from it. And then do what you do in the soul. You love it. You love it. You love your guilt. And if you loved the guilt, then you'll be happy loving. You changed your perception.
Right.
So you love your guilt. And that saves you from identifying with your guilt.
After.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then again, you always bring up about being a more loving person while we're together doing the relationship time. Serving each other more, being more loving towards each other, and honoring and respecting one another, as opposed to you're leaving your body and then I'm going through all this stuff about I could have, should have, would have done this better, that better. Why are we waiting? Why are we always waiting?
Waiting?
Waiting until we lose something, and then all this awareness comes instead of, this is it, let's just go for it.
Well, yeah, I think that's what sadhana is.
Yeah.
It's sadhana and death are equal. That's funny. Because we go from ego to soul. And I know I'm living in a soul plane. And I see everything is love. And I love you whether you're dead or alive. Yeah.
Not more or less then. Same.
No. Same.
Yeah.
Same. Because I love was soul love.
There's no attachment with soul love.
Huh?
There's no attachment with soul love.
No.
There can't be.
No. No. Attachment is here.
All right.
Yeah.
So how can we feel more the divinity in others? Again, we're going to go back to the love aspect, or do you have any other thoughts in how we can feel more when we look at someone, to be able to look at their divinity?
Planes of consciousness. There's this plane of consciousness, the ego plane. There's a plane of consciousness, the soul plane. And then that blends into the final one, which is the one. The one. These planes are all of us inhabit these planes. I am speaking to myself right here, because you and me bear the one. Okay. So if I see the one in myself, then I'm going to see the one in you, and I'm going to see your divinity.
What about the karma aspect to that? If I'm looking at you with love and going deeper into the soul and divinity, but then karma is there as well.
It goes like this.
Could it be that the doorway is always slightly ajar, karma or not? And then
Yeah.
you can always get in there with love, soul to soul, because there's always that opening.
Well, that's. I've been pondering that doorway. Psychedelics taught me that those doorways, those walls that you're going to, from there to there, sometimes they're tough. They're tough. So I felt that I used metaphors that made it tougher. You have to dive into the ocean, and you'll leave your ego on the beach. But that's a very bad metaphor. Death is going from one plane to another. Some people go like butter. Some people are going, yeah, because they're going to be. They're going to lose their self-concept, their ego. So you can ease the death It's not going to be bad. It's going to be not going to be bad. And you're coming in to your real self. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, the doorway. The doorway. The doorway.
Is that what Huxley meant when he spoke about the doors of perception?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. You know, we just went to see the divinity in somebody. Now we got caught in the doorway. And then we figured out we are all those planes. There's not doorways. There are.
So there's no more doorways.
No more doorways.
So it doesn't matter if it's open or shut.
You know.
Because it doesn't exist. So that's what he probably meant by the doors of perception. It's not there.
Yeah, yeah. Perception.
That's right. So how can we listen to our soul more attentively?
Well, the soul has characteristics of the one. The soul comes from the one. Love, compassion, peace, creativity, joy. Those, if any of those things in you, you can ride on one of those things. You can get a creative high, and that's then you're in your soul.
So you're listening to your soul more attentively through love, through compassion,
Yeah.
through peace, through creativity, through joy.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And they're in everybody. They're in everybody. Yeah.
Why do we have so much fear around these, around love, around compassion, around peace, creativity, and joy? We have so many fears about it, so many deep fears of being hurt or past.
That's the ego. Because they're like love. Love melds with somebody, and you lose your separateness, and little separate guy, he doesn't want to lose his separateness, which of course, best thing from him, because he's in the long run, he's the universe. He's the universe. Look at how perception, the soul wants to be in the one.
Engaged with the one.
Yeah, blended with one. But for that to happen, he's got to throw off his separateness.
Cloak.
His cloak of separateness.
Right.
So one of the benefits of this incarnation of all we're living through is we're seeing how much suffering is separateness. Separateness is war, separateness is religion, separateness is everything. Separateness, people's separateness, and their fear of when you're alone in the big universe, your fear. And I think those fear and war and those are all coming from separateness. The Middle East is all separateness. You could, in this incarnation, we've all chosen this incarnation. And there's separateness.
Nothing is changing now.
Well, the way people change in themselves. And social activism will heart to heart. Like Reverend King, he was a heart. He was compassionate. Gandhi, compassionate. Jesus was compassionate. And they started something, each of those, because that speech Reverend King gave affected everybody's heart. That's so That's what you, the evolution from us, our point of view. It's not going to be things like that. It's going to be evolution when we have consciousness of the oneness of humanity.
So that's when you're saying change will occur?
Yeah.
Through that oneness?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen just by talking about it?
Yeah. Well, talking will help, but I mean, that's talking is a doing thing about oneness with being. If we could all be one, and then it'd be beautiful.
It's interesting you mentioned three people, Gandhi, King, and Jesus, as an example of compassionate people. Do you consider yourself a compassionate soul?
Well, I'm a soul. Yes.
Are you a compassionate soul?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But I'm more the track of love. And love and compassion are very close to one another. And I love everybody and unconditionally love everybody. And that's when I give these retreats, I get up on the stage and I don't do any talking. I love everybody. And then they get something. Something being loved unconditionally. And that's what I got from Maharaji. Yeah.
From your guru?
Yeah. Yeah. My guru was the best thing I've had
in your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way, but that leads me into another question here I had about the guru-disciple relationship, and we touched on this numerous times over the last 7 years, and trying to see how it has changed over the last period of time. Understanding that the word disciple carries certain connotations to the Western mind, and all this, again, this sudden anxiety over false gurus and gurus that set themselves up and then have sexual dalliances with their students and tells them that it's all for the benefit of their growth and they should just surrender, it's the guru's way. And it's going on right now in America, in Australia, and a few other places, and nothing's changed in that area. People set themselves up as gurus, and then they abuse the power to people that are just coming looking for love and spiritual understanding, and I think it turns away a lot of people.
Well, grows in yourself. The Atman. And you go outside to reflect that being inside. And you'll find a reflection of your soul. But if it's blurred with that being's karma, like wanting sexual relations with you intuitively know, because you have the guru inside. So I'd say to a devotee, is wherever it goes to something, trust your inner voice. Trust your inner voice. And take what you your inner voice will take there's blurriness in that man or woman. And you can take the spiritual juice from that guy, or without taking his karma.
So take the spiritual juice and understanding and move along.
Yeah.
Because most of us don't have the deeper ability to discriminate.
They do.
They do.
They do. They do. They do.
How could we see that more often? How could we open that up? The ability to discriminate.
By not fooling ourselves. The devotee is not devoted to a person or a human. They're devoted to the one in the person. That's what a good guru is. The guru is a guru and teacher. Teacher walks with you up the path, and a guru walks ahead of you. And the guru reflects the things, the truth within you.
So if it's a true guru,
Yeah.
a true teacher, they will teach you discrimination
Yes.
by telling, giving you
Yeah.
their truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And the true teacher might be in a guise of his karma. You can get a teaching from that person. Don't take this karma
As the teaching.
as a teaching.
Right. I was recently in India with a friend of mine. We were walking down a village called Vakala. It's on the ocean, the Arabian Sea. And there's beggars and people trying to get your attention to come into their shops and things like that. We're walking down going to have our breakfast. And that, out of the corner of my eye, I see Sridhar Sai Baba sitting there on the side of the path. Sridhar Sai Baba, not the Sai Baba with the curly hair, but the original Sai Baba that was in the 1900s, early 1900s.
Wow.
And he was in the complete head thing and looked exactly like him. I'm walking past, and I passed him, and I stopped, backed up, pulled out some rupees, and I gave it to him. He wasn't asking for anything. And I never saw him again after that. It was like,
Yeah.
then he disappeared.
Yeah. You had, boy,
It was just,
yeah.
this just happened a couple months back. So the guru comes in many disguises.
Yeah.
We need to be aware.
People say, "Oh, Guruji," to me. So I said, "Go, yeah, don't go, don't settle for me. Find a guru, a real guru."
Yeah, but you're a teacher. You're a great teacher.
I'm a teacher. I'm
Right.
not a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm not a guru. Yet. I will be.
Or not.
Huh?
Or not.
Or not.
So how can we get everyone into more love? Especially the millenniums, when all this technology is happening all around us. Everybody seems to be so consumed.
Well, they can go to my website.
Which is loveserveandremember.org, by the way.
I have Skype calls. I call them heart-to-hearts or soul-to-soul. We are so engaged in love in those calls. And I say, my God, look at it. it's the clouds or the wires that convey this. It's amazing that it convey heart's love. Yeah, that's
It's a good way to look at it.
yeah.
So all this technology is probably just expressions of love.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a new book. There's a new book out on Steve Jobs, and the first chapter is a seva, and I'm all over that. But he was toying with Maharaji.
Right. That was at the beginning.
Yes. At his bedside, Miracle of Love was my book on Maharaji. And pictures all over the place of Maharaji. I'm wondering whether anything, the things is death, before death. What his brain was affected by Maharaji.
Right, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I just want to touch for a few seconds on this temper and anger situation. Why we lose our temper all the time and buy into the anger, and how it plays out in everyday life through our reactions. We're always reacting to somebody's action towards us. We're either reacting with anger because they're angry. It just goes on and on. Action, reaction, usually with anger and frustration.
The ego is a very small ship, and it's on a big ocean, and it's upset. Very little things upset, and then I'm drowning. Ooh. Anger. Anger is the ego attempting to right the ship. They're angry at the wind, angry at anger is ego. It's not soul. The anger is thoughts. It's thoughts. You ride on the thought, an angry thought, and you go for a long time. But the technique of getting rid of it is it's just you nip it in the bud, just thinking, then you stop. You get angry and angry and angry. You stop it.
You have to do that for yourself because you can't tell somebody to stop.
No. And it's somebody else's karma. I mean, is somebody angry at me? That's their karma.
Right.
I'm playing my role in their karma, but I'm not going to play. I'm going to not get into that role. Or they want me to, but there's a roles, soul.
It requires a lot of discipline at that moment, not to react.
Not to react.
Yeah.
But reaction is a thought. So you're going to nip the bud. Love that person. Love his anger. And he'll deflate.
Love her anger also. Ramdas, at the end of your time in this incarnation, how would you like to be remembered?
Not at all. Sure, I'd like to be remembered. Love. Just love. Just love. A being that spreads love. And Tim Leary's partner.
Thank you, Ramdas. Thank you. Appreciate it so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. And the whole Bhakti Fest family loves every time they see you. For more information, by the way, go to ramdasloveserveandremember.org or information on bhaktifest.com. And everybody who saw that you got the Spiritual Humanitarian Award at 2014, they said, but we never saw him get the award. So I am going to make an official presentation of the award to you so that they can see
yes.
it. This is the 2014 Bhakti Fest Spiritual Humanitarian Award presented to Ramdas in recognition of your dedicated and compassionate service to all.
Wow. Thank you.
And we thank you.
Thank you.